Thank you for your interest in the graduate program of theology here at Newman University. The goal of our program is to immerse you into the richness of the Catholic theological tradition, as well as helping you develop the practical skills you will need to pass on the knowledge you gain here to others. Here are some of the advantages we see to earning your master's degree in theology at Newman University. First, although we are an online program, we are not a distance education program. This is not a get a DVD in the mail and then watch it when you can kind of program. Instead, we use a cohort model here at Newman, meaning once you join our program, you will join a cohort of fellow students, and once we form a new cohort, we do not accept new students. Instead, with the formation of each cohort, you will go through your entire program of study here together with your fellow students and, of course, with your professors. So in addition to exploring the richness of the Catholic theological tradition, you will form real relationships in the graduate program of theology here at Newman. In fact, previous students have told us that they often get to know each other better in this kind of format than they do even in a traditional classroom. I mean, think about the format of the traditional classroom. Usually what happens is students pile into a classroom, they sit down, they listen to a lecture, they take notes, they may ask a question, they may not. At the end of class, they might talk to some of the students sitting next to them, but then usually it's up and off to work or back home. Not in our program. In our program, you will be placed in an electronic study group, meaning that you will continue to learn in these small study groups with your fellow students and with your professor, discussing theological questions, challenging each other, affirming each other, continuing to learn about the Catholic tradition. In addition to the video lectures, you'll learn even more, we believe, in this exchange, this back and forth between fellow students and, of course, with your professor.
One of the other real strengths of our program, I think, is the inspiration we take from our namesake, Blessed John Henry Cardinal Newman. Newman, in his day, faced many of the same kinds of challenges that we face today in the 21st century. There were critics and skeptics attacking the church from all different sides in his society. And one of the ways that we try to emulate Newman is to try to emulate his response to those critics and to those attacks. Newman didn't advocate kind of cutting himself off or hiding from the world. Instead, he advocated an active engagement with those ideas. He wrote in his idea of the university that one does not learn to swim in troubled waters, never to have gone into them. And by that, he's referring to the way we ought to conduct things in our classroom. We don't prepare students for the world by cutting them off from it and by shielding them from all of the critical ideas out there in society. Instead, what Newman is advocating is that we ought to, within the context of a good, solid Catholic education, introduce students to those ideas. They ought to be familiar with them and know how to respond to them within the classroom. That way, then, when they leave the classroom and when they graduate, those students are going to be prepared to meet those challenges, whether they meet those skeptical arguments in their own life, in their own study, or whether those questions are posed to them by students in a class they're leading or by friends or family. And so in our program, we really strive to both give students a solid grounding in the Catholic tradition and also to introduce them to the critical ideas, the critical arguments that they're going to face out in the real world and prepare them to be able to respond successfully to them.
Another advantage to our program is our focus on catechetics. And the focus there is really to train and form catechists for the new evangelization, equipping them with the skills and the knowledge necessary for them to be effective at handing on the faith to the next generation.
Another advantage to our program is that every professor is a proud holder of the mandatum from the Bishop of Wichita to teach Catholic theology. The theology faculty here at Newman strive to think with the mind of the Church, marshaling all of the resources of the Catholic intellectual tradition to meet the challenges of our day.
Another advantage to our program is the opportunity to study in Rome. At the end of your program of study, you can take an elective course and go with us to the Eternal City. to travel with your fellow students and with me to spend 10 days exploring the richness of Rome, to visit some of the principal sites of early Christianity, especially for the opportunity to go and pray and visit the tomb of the Apostle Peter, as well as visiting some of the principal sites of the early Christian martyrs in the city of Rome. Nothing changes a person quite like travel. Nothing enriches a person like travel, especially, we believe, for the chance to travel to the heart of Catholic Christianity, to visit the city of Rome. So we are definitely not your ordinary online degree program. Should you have any questions about the graduate program in theology here at Newman University, please feel free to contact me either by phone or by email. You can find my contact information for doing so here on this website. Thank you for considering Newman University as the place to earn your master's degree in theology.